Hello, today I'm wearing a polka dot dress and I have a hair accessory on. I'm so excited. It's about time I wore hair accessories on this channel. Again, big car going past. I was trying to make myself look like a Disney princess, but I don't think I did too well. Then again, anyone can be a princess, no matter who they are or what they look like. In the words of A Little Princess, I love that film, we are princesses, all of us, in an American accent. I'm going off topic, I haven't even started talking yet. Today I sat down to talk about a television programme or Netflix programme that I guess I've become a bit obsessed with in the last few weeks, and it's called Once Upon a Time. Everyone takes a deep breath in and out. I'm very late to the party. Before I go any further, this video will contain lots of spoilers, so you have been warned. Proceed with caution. So for those of you who have disregarded the spoiler warning, this video may be a little bit complicated, but let me try and give you an introduction to Once. To summarise how it all begins, basically all the fairy tale characters that we know and love have been cursed. So they go from being in the fairy tale world to being in the modern day real world, and they've been cursed by Regina, who is Snow White's stepmother. She's the evil queen. So yeah, it gets a little bit more complicated after that, but that gives you a bit of a gist. Once I made it past the first series, I sort of got hooked, literally Captain Hook, and now I'm on to, I've literally just started series 4 as I record this. I don't want to stop watching because I want to find out what happens and I want to see all these stories tie up. It's one of those shows that I go from really loving to really hating. It feels like there's so many plot holes which are later, you know, tied up because they're constantly going backwards and forwards in time and jump cutting and crisscrossing and hopscotching, joking. And there's just so many coincidences that happen that are crucial to certain plot points. And I just watched and I think to myself, oh, for goodness sake, life isn't like that, no. But there are times where I watch it and I'm like, oh wow, this makes me happy. And some of the cliffhangers are really good, and that's one of the problems about having something like Netflix, because you can literally just keep watching episode after episode. You don't have to wait. So yeah, there was one week this week where I literally had Once on for about 11 hours straight. I was obviously doing stuff in my room, but yeah, it just kept streaming. As I said, I didn't quite like the first series. It felt very boring and repetitive, and I must admit I was very shocked that every season is 22 episodes long, 22 hours roughly of footage. I'm watching it on Netflix, so I guess it's very different to watching it once a week over a period of time, but watching it on the go like this, it does feel like there's a lot of extra stuff that they don't need to include, or they could cut down certain stuff. It took me a while to sort of immerse myself in this world and get to grips with all the different characters, because not only are you being introduced to actors portraying animated characters, you're also meeting the characters themselves like Snow White, and then you're meeting their alter egos or their distorted forms in the real world as well. So much to take on board for every single character, and it's fascinating. Some of the people that they've cast are just so good. My favourite romantic couple are Mr. and Mrs. Gold, Belle and Rumpelstiltskin. Rumpelstiltskin is a very complicated character. Sometimes I love him, sometimes I hate him, sometimes I want to kiss him, other times I want to punch him in the face. Okay, I'm being overdramatic. I love it when characters have chemistry and actors really do put across their love for other characters. It's really magical when you sort of experience someone else's love. I hope that makes sense. And the actor that portrays Rumpel, he's just lovely at it. One character that I love so much is Snow, Mary Margaret, especially before Regina cast the curse. She's very lovable. Also, from a costume designer's perspective, I love her costumes. She has so many coats. I reckon like half her wardrobe must be coats and hats. I'd love to dress like Mary Margaret. I love Snow and Prince Charming, although there was a point I still am quite confused about Prince Charming and his twin brother. If someone could explain that to me, I would really, really appreciate it. My neighbours are currently making so much noise. Right now they've sort of left Aurora, Mulan and Philip sort of in the air, and I can't wait for them to go back to that if there's a love triangle there. That would be so cool if they did that. I did get caught out when Hook and Emma sort of came together. I wasn't expecting that. There was a point where it didn't feel like it was working, and then suddenly whoosh, they were sort of perfect for each other, and I do hope it stays that way. One of my favourite revelations was the Queen of Hearts. I didn't see that coming. I was so stupid. You think to yourself, that's so obvious, but in that moment I was like, oh, hello. I didn't like Regina at first, but like any Disney villain, there's always a reason why the villain is the way they are. So I wasn't surprised that they took the direction of trying to explain her back history and that she has valid reasons for being a ticked-off woman. And now it's got to the point where I'm sort of rooting for her and I feel sympathy and I feel sorry for her and I just want to give her a hug. And considering all the bad stuff she's done, it's bizarre. In my opinion, it does feel like the concept of taking a story that we all know and love and proving that the villain wasn't actually a villain but a misunderstood goodie that is portrayed to be a villain by the way that the story's been told is quite... it's no longer an original concept anymore. I was worried that once would sort of do a bit too much of that, but right now it seems to be okay. The show sort of plays on the fact that the audience has probably watched all of the Disney films, therefore they've got their own ideas inside their heads of what characters are and what they look like and what their story arcs are. So one story that caught me very, very off guard was the Beast and how it's Rumpelstiltskin, because in my mind that is not what the Beast looks like, that's nowhere near. But it made sense. It's not too much. Yeah, they do play around with the characters' stories. They're not quite what you expect them to be, but it's not over the top. There's so many things that I really do love about the show, one of which is that they're casting a complete variety of actors. Accents, ethnicities, it's very sparse and that's great. And they're not sticking to the original interpretations of those characters. So Belle doesn't have an English or French accent, she's Australian. It's great. Again, it's a bit confusing, but once you get your head around it, it's fine. Something that does puzzle me a little bit, and I do find a bit frustrating, is that they do keep going from putting all the characters in the Enchanted Forest to having all the characters in Storybrooke and then back again and then back again, and you just think to yourself, those poor people, every time they sort of get their life in order, someone else casts a curse or revokes a curse and everyone goes back to the previous place. One of the things that surprised me about the show is that I originally thought that the target audience was young teenagers, and although that is the case, part of me does feel as though the show is quite adult. There's a lot of sexual tension between certain characters. Hook. The idea that Pan is a villain and he's in the body of a child and he's kidnapping all these boys for his own ends is just a really dark idea. It would make a good book. Some of it's quite dark. I don't think it's for children at all. I mean, some of the scenes were really graphic, like Red Riding Hood. My dad came in when I was watching the scene where all those bodies, those bloody bodies were covering the snow, and I had to say to my dad, don't worry, this is okay. This isn't Game of Thrones, it's okay. Even though there are lots of things about the show that I don't like, I have to say, hands up, that I am a fan. It's taken a very long time, but I am now a part of the fandom. I'm going to sort of bring this vlog to an end. It's just been a long stream of thoughts from yours truly, and it would be so good to get a discussion going about it if you are a big fan. Let's talk in the comments box downstairs. There are currently 5 series on Netflix and I'm determined to get to the end. I don't know if there's any more after that or it finishes at series 5, but I will get there eventually. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this and I will see you guys again. I'm going to keep watching. See you soon, everyone.